Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to another Our Buddies podcast. We have a new person here, and we have the winner of our last premiere. So let's start with the new person here. Who are you, and what you need?
I am Mr. Payphone. I am obviously the newest member of the Art Buddies. Glad to be here. Obviously, not as good as anybody else in this recording session, but we're trying. We're trying.
All right, and then as well, we already know who JB and Y Rebellion are, but now everyone is officially a member of the Art Bus compared to be an honorary bud. So let's get into what we have today. Who are you, Y Rebellion, and how did you get into the game?
I got into the game. I've been playing I've played a bunch of different card games. Before getting into Elestrals, I played Legends of Runeterra quite competitively, and that's kind of where I really started to try to play card games more competitively than previously when I was playing Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, just kind of at a relatively casual level. And then Legends of Runeterra, I was playing competitively, almost qualified for the World Championship a couple years ago, and then for anyone who doesn't know what happened to that game,
it just folded.
It is no longer being supported by Riot. So I made it onto the waitlist for Worlds, didn't quite make it, and then the game shut down. So I had a competitive drive, and then also was just looking for a new card game because that was no longer being supported to the same degree. And so that was around, and then I got onto Elestrals around Daybreak timing, roughly around there was when I started jumping into the game. And then just really enjoyed the gameplay, the community, the general direction of the game. And so then I jumped into playing Elestral, trying to be competing in Elestral.
Well, now, guess what? You qualified for another World Championship instead of being on a wait list for this other one.
Yes,
and this game hopefully won't be shut down.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
So we're all out of a job. Fuck.
No, I just got here, man. Come on.
Well, you piloted Hermes, which was not expected to win a lot of things, and you seem to be fairly consistent with it. I know on the last podcast you said why you liked Hermes, but I guess we'll go through it again. Fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the deck is, I think it's very cool in terms of I think there's a lot of different options that you have at your disposal at all times, just because Hermes is a toolbox. Just as the card, you can send, you have multiple things that you're able to send, as well as Trickery being able to play so many different roles depending on what you need in the game. So that's kind of what initially drew me to the deck, was just especially Trickery. I was I want to play with that card. It seems broken. And then just as I played it, it was oh, there's just so many interactions here and decisions that I'm making at pretty much all times, that I really liked just investing more into it and getting better, understanding the deck more, and figuring out what really makes the archetype tick.
Okay. I guess, did you have any tech picks for in the meta? Anything in your side that you thought would have been good?
Yeah, there was one tech in my sideboard that I was really happy with throughout the tournament, which was 2 copies of Toxiri, which I have not seen anyone else do in Hermes, but not that many people are playing Hermes. But the idea being that the matchups that I had lost to in the 2 previous top cuts were Lockagon, both times. And so I was okay, I need a way to answer Lockagon. I need to make sure that I'm shored up on this matchup. And what I was finding from testing the matchup was that pretty much the entire game in Hermes versus Lockagon comes down to, can the Hermes player stop the Lockagon effect, the new Lockagon effect? Because if old Lockagon hits the field and pops your Hermes, you kind of lose the game. And also then you have to play into soulmates, and it just becomes so much harder. So I was looking for cards about the second top cut I lost because I didn't have a way to stop the Lockagon combo, and I mulliganed 3 times and I did not see a way to stop the Lockagon combo. So I was okay, I just want more copies of things that say no, you cannot summon another Lockagon. And so then I tested the Toxiri, and I was liking it because it's copies 4 and 5 of Dense Fog, and it also stops the locking on from running over the Toxiri. So the next turn you can just immediately pop it and then swing for damage. So that worked out really well, and I won all 4 of my locking on matchups throughout the tournament. So I was very happy with how that worked out.
Yeah. Interesting that you said you had Toxiri in the side, because I was watching the finals against Julian, and I didn't see Toxiri once. But you did find Dense Fogs, luckily,
I did
but
find
no
the Dense Fogs,
Toxiris.
yes. I did find the Dense Fogs. Yeah, I mean, I think that my hands in the finals against Julian specifically were strong into locking on. Like, I saw the Dense Fogs right away. I saw access to Hermes, so it was like I didn't have to do any mulliganing there. So I had the luck on my side in the finals, that's for sure.
I guess we'll also get into our other new person here. How did you get into Elestrals, Mr. Payphone?
You helped me a lot. So obviously, prior to, I want to say last year, I didn't really know the game existed. I got in towards the end of Daybreak, so I hadn't really had much time to kind of learn everything that everybody else knows. And this was like Prime 5's format. So just the entire time we're just sitting there playing 5s over and over again.
God,
Which I still think is such a great format. It was still such a fun format.
I hated that deck so much.
And thanks to the help of Sylvie, he's been keeping my Elestral streak going. And now ending up here where, we're slowly climbing the competitive ladder.
I mean, most of us are pretty close to getting our qualification for Worlds, no?
I'm close. I need.
Wow,
I still need quite a few points.
I'm the lowest one here at 80 points.
I'm at 100, but I was going to say, for that, to me, to actually qualify for Worlds, which we'll get into where the announcement that came out later, but I would need to win 2 of the store regionals, just because that's 150 points there.
I mean, if you just get the 75 for one, and then just place top 32 in a whole bunch of them, you'll be fine, right?
Yeah,
I'm close. I think I got, last I checked I was at 140, so I think I need to just win a regional and then
you're at 140.
top 32.
Yeah.
How many premieres are there left?
There's only currently announced of 5, but we still have all of February and possibly beginning of March.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
There's
then
still a lot of time.
Yeah, there's time.
Well, what are everyone's thoughts on the RPG reveals?
Love it. I love it.
Yeah. I think
again,
cool.
I grew up on that like Pokemon stuff, so being able to see kind of a modernized version of it is definitely fun. Definitely fun, especially in the 2.5D aspect, where like it's not quite that 3D, but like you still get that old like
the
2D
pixel.
kind of, like it's still like that pixel stuff that we all grew up on. That to me is just, that's what sets it.
Yeah, I agree. I was never a huge I was never like huge into that genre in general, but I'm excited to give it a shot, and I think that it does look cool and like an interesting like foray into the genre. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, for those who probably don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about Elestral's new Kickstarter that just got funded, which was Elestral's Awaken, which really shocked me just in terms of how much it got funded, which was, I believe, over $1.4 million, which ties the TCG's Kickstarter.
The TCG one was like slightly higher by like 7K or something like that.
I think it was 6. I think it was 6,000.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Which still surprises me, because I know after Clash, people had a lot of enmity towards the Kickstarter on terms of the player side, but I believe because especially because of Shady Penguin and how he tied in his audience, and it was more towards the video game aspects, there was a lot more people on the RPG VCG side of Pokemon that really invest into it because they kind of fit into that old school red and blue type of era.
I think another big thing was like with the Clash Kickstarter, it was like you can only get certain things by the tiers. Like if you wanted 3 promo packs, you either had to buy like the $400 tier or like buy 3 versions of the beta code, which not everyone did. So I think the ability like they did in the first Kickstarter for this one, whereas you can just buy just the specific things you want, was really nice because I know I wanted to like support the game more, but I didn't want to buy the tier where it's like, oh, you get the starter decks. I'm like, I don't need any more of the starter decks. So the ability where I can just like buy the plushies because I know my wife wants plushies, and then the desk mat and the game and 3 promo packs just felt nice to do. Made more incentivized to buy into the Kickstarter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's also encouraging to me that I was a little bit worried, especially like after the Clash Kickstarter, that this might not have the reception that they wanted. And I was concerned about what that would look like to like if they put out this thing and then it didn't receive as much funding as they were looking for. I feel like that would be a bit of a bad like bad marketing look for the game, but that has not been the case at all. And if anything, makes me excited that there are all of these people who are really excited about this like extension of the game outside of just the card game and more like the IP and a different aspect for it. So I think it's a good sign.
I agree. And then in the process over the past couple of days, we've had quite a bit of announcements going through. We have the new announcement of next of Sunstrike, I believe it is.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's gonna be a nice Thunder and Solar set.
Yeah, and we did actually get a tease for kind of what's coming in that set through the Awaken Kickstarter, which is a new Divine Aries and its champion Celestlio.
Yeah. I'm very curious on how that's gonna like play out, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really surprised that the next set is a solar set when solar right now it's still very prominent in the meta.
Yeah. I'm curious, what do you guys think will be the Thunder? I know Peyton and I were talking about it, but we were thinking of it probably being like Hercules, because like it's also like Zeus's son, so I don't know who else would be like a good qualification to be Thunder.
I think it might be Hera. I think there might have been a
I
teaser
heard
for that
maybe
through it. I think some
Discord.
things on the website where like some Elestrals has the little lore tied to them that Hera has been mentioned, and it would make sense because it's Zeus's wife.
Yeah, but like my also like main thought process, because I know in the itinerary originally I had it put as Hercules, but my thought process behind that was like Hercules has connections with like the Nemean lion, so it like made sense in my brain that it would be like with Celestlio. I didn't think it was gonna be Ares, but I guess that like also works out.
Yeah. I guess with the new set being announced, there's also been, I guess, looking way into the future, the next block of what's coming after the Divine Champions, and which of course again ties back into the RPG Awakened, is all the Awakened forms that were announced.
I think my theory behind that for the next set is like the last set is going to obviously introduce our last 2 divines we need, which are Frost and Lunar. And I think in that set they're going to put in like 2 awakened forms, probably just gonna be the Pantera and the Novacore. And then the next block is gonna be like Elestrals Awakened and then the set name, like how they did with like Divine Champions. I think that's probably how it's gonna end up going.
I think that'd be cool. I definitely think that they could do some interesting stuff with that.
And like I'm also like super curious how they're going to introduce the awakened forms, because I know they also said there's possibly like awakened spirits. And what I kind of want that to be like is almost like an ace spec in Pokemon, where you only have like one of it in the deck, and then once you use it, it goes away. So as an example, if you use like an awakened spirit, it counts as 2 spirits for the cost of 1. So essentially you have like 21 in your spirit deck. But it only counts as the extra 1 when you use it for like a rune. So your awakened Teratlus, you can use the 1 rune or the 1 spirit for Earthquake. But then once you use it, it can't be like Ambrosia's back or anything like that, or healed back.
I think for that they would maybe have to introduce a new zone, like a banished zone,
Yeah,
where it has to
banish
be
exile.
banished.
No, I think you just
After-
leave it in the underworld. It just can't be put back onto the field to make that a rule.
Maybe. I think that
Maybe.
there will probably need to be an additional zone like banished eventually, regardless. Just because I feel like it opens up a lot of design space if it's like, oh, you can only use this thing once, or like banish from a graveyard to have an effect. So I suspect that we will end up with a banish/exile zone eventually. Whether it comes then, we'll see.
Or the other thought process I had is that if it was to be healed back, it counts as 2 spirits being healed instead of 1.
So
if
you
were to,
just
like,
have it be
Ambro-
like 2 for literally anything, whether it's
Like, if
like
you
the
were
cost
to-
of the spirit or.
Well, if you were to like ambrosia it back, you'd only ambrosia 2 things, being the one awakened spirit plus 1 other spirit. Because like realistically in Pokemon, the aspects can be used multiple times throughout the game. Like you can just, if there's a way to get them back, you get them back and you can use them. So I feel like that could work, but it's definitely going to be interesting how they like bring in awakened spirits and stuff like that.
I think the other possibility is that there's more restriction. Like there is you get some sort of benefit, but there's more restrictions on when you can use it. Like maybe you can only use it for an awakened Elestral. So like you need to get that on the field in order to be able to access whatever the benefit is from the awakened spirit.
And I'm also curious how they're going to like allow the awakened stuff. I know it's probably gonna be like a title form, obviously, but like you can only play this if like the awakened Pantera is like if Pantera dies or leaves the field or something like that.
Or like you can only ascend over Pantera.
Something like that, yeah. Just some very interesting mechanics behind it, but we'll find out obviously soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, new mechanics.
Well, we're hopefully going to figure this out soon.
Well, I mean, I was just like, it's probably got not be for another year and a half, just because we have to finish off this, the Divine Champions block, and I know people have been enjoying it.
Well, it's 3 sets a year, right? So it'll be end of next year. Would be the first block of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the
Sounds
end of next year would be the new block. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe with how they do their testing schedules and stuff, that since now that Sunseeker's been announced that they're gonna start opening up applications for set 9.
Yeah.
So Dan's probably been starting to write that in probably maybe started the new year, just because he was gonna probably spend the next 2 months with his family, holidays and such.
I guess we were also talking about Worlds, but we didn't talk too much about it. But it's been announced that Worlds is going to be in Vegas in March of next year. What's everyone's thoughts on that?
It's exciting. I'm glad that we now have a like confirmed time and location, so that people can start like figuring out plans for can they go, like getting things sorted with flights and accommodations, stuff like that. And I feel like Vegas is hopefully can provide a good venue and like place for the event. So
Well, I think it's in the same hotel that they have the venue's in the same hotel that they have booked for the players.
Yes, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be excited to go to my first in-person Elestrals event. So
Who's going gambling after they win? I think like the biggest thing as well right now, I don't know how big the Worlds is actually going to be, because like right now we only have like 28 players who are technically qualified, and it's going to be kind of weird to see how many more people get the 250. And what I truly think is that they should start moving down the like invite piece to like at least into the top 3. So if the third place person doesn't have their invite, they get what the first place person would get if they've already gotten their invite, right?
Right.
So like as an example, if like Bean were to win another premiere, but the second place person doesn't have their invite, I feel like they should get the invite. I'm also curious how the LCQ is going to work. Is going to be like the Yu-Gi-Oh pods for how they do their LCQs, where it's 16-man pods and the winner goes in. Like, I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, I'm really curious too, just because in terms of, I know Vegas is great. From what I've heard about other games is that sometimes Vegas especially just because of how it's Vegas, right? It's a ton of events. I mean, just this weekend they had an F1 race. There's
They have
a
SCG
10K
con going
turn.
on.
Yeah, there's a 10K tournament going on now, but they have to rent. They make people like rent out their spaces for 3-4 years in advance, like blocks at a time for 3-4 years. So maybe it's similar to this, where we might have 3 years of Worlds. I know there was leading up to that. Everyone was curious just because, especially the Lumaroos, like it's good. I'm glad they announced it now, but
Mhm.
a lot of time to get visas and everything and planning just to come over here. That was one thing. My other thing is I hope, like what you were saying, Sylvie, with the pass down of worlds. I feel like they should kind of do that. I know for Cardfight Vanguard, they do that where it's like top three make further regionals, top three make worlds. Of course, first place gets the sponsored invite, but if any of the top three already have their invite, it gets passed down to the fourth place player.
Mm-hmm.
So something similar like that with that. So then we can get more people with the worlds, because it'd be really awkward if worlds is just like a 50-person event.
Yeah, that's what happened in like the last year of I think it was Buddy Fight, and they only had like 3 people at Worlds, or like 4 people at Worlds. It was really fucking weird. I don't remember exactly the amount. I remember talking with someone else who also went for Worlds, or like the regional like, qualifier. It was really weird. It was a very small tournament. Just because how they made the tournament format. But why would the Limaroos need a visa if I'm pretty sure this game doesn't give monetary value? I'm pretty sure visas are only needed if you are going for monetary value.
uh, I I don't know. I've just seen like Cobalt Sanderson talking on Twitter a lot of times about like when anytime there was been an announcement and wasn't announced, it's like we need to like get flights and blah blah blah, because
I
I
think it's just
mean,
harder to book flights from
yeah,
Australia and stuff like that,
yeah,
or
it's
just
probably
from
that.
OCE.
Yeah, I will be interested to see, like, I'm curious about what the like number they're aiming for people to be at Worlds is. Because at least from like the current qualification numbers, I'm expecting about like 50-ish from points, and then some from the LCQ, whatever that like format ends up being. So like, maybe they're aiming for 64. Um, I feel like that's probably makes sense because like they're definitely not going to get up to 128.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely not.
yeah. Actually, thinking about that, yeah, right. If they're trying to, if it's trying to be like a world's event, maybe 50 to 60 is that number based off of Dallas and Kiss Me being over 100, like 1 to 200 people, and then the online premiere is getting 80, 80 at least. So you probably want a smaller number. So then it's a more like exclusive like event since it is Worlds, but at the same time, I feel like you want to try to get as many people as possible to show that like look how how the game has grown, and this is how many people are at our first Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's smart to have the LCQ like on the Friday there, because then that, and then as well as events for other people who are not competitors to do, so it can just get people, like, get them in the venue, make it seem like an exciting event with people who are not just directly competing, by giving a chance to potentially compete through the LCQ, and then just side events and fun stuff to do. So get more people into the event as a whole.
I also think it's going to be kind of hard with. My anticipation is that it's going to be Sunstrike as the Worlds format,
Mhm.
because February is the end of the live stream season, and so what I'm thinking is probably like the last 2 weeks of February is when it gets like, you know how they always do like the early sendouts, and then it becomes legal the 1st of March. So what I was thinking is like they're probably gonna have one more premiere at the beginning of March area, and then the Worlds is going to be the Sunstrike format.
I definitely think it'd be interesting to see how how that would turn out if they were to do that with the premiere at the beginning of March, just to kind of see, I guess, where Sunstrike lies in the middle, like in the midst of everything, and if they want to do like how Yu-Gi-Oh, or I believe some other card games do, where they have like their own ban list, just to see like what needs to get hit, what doesn't need to get hit, what would make the whole event fair.
Well, the issue is with Yu-Gi-Oh is that they have two different languages of the game, and they have different set release times. While Elestrals doesn't have that. That's why they have like a separate ban list for World.
Well, no, but like that's kind of like the direction I was going. Where like I know it's the two separate formats, but like having like a world specific ban list, I think would be interesting for March.
Yeah. If it's in March, I would hope it's maybe a month. We'll have to see when Sunstray comes out Q1, but I know that people do not want another Kissimmee type event where it's the first one of the meta, and plus some of the people going that would be at Worlds might have been testers for the set, and I know that, of course, a lot of people couldn't play at Kissimmee was because of the restriction of, I believe it's a
1 month. The first
it's a
first
1
month.
month restriction from premieres. So if
I
we're
feel
having
like-
it smack dab in the middle of March,
Yeah.
Sunstrike has to come out in February.
Well, it's not coming out. Not coming out in February because it's still technically live stream season, and they only want the seasons to match up with the set releases. That's why it was extended till the end of February, so they can line up with their releases. Because the last time they did it, or every other season they've done, was they've released the specific season for that set a month in advance. So, like, the start of Moonrise, technically Moonrise season was in January, but Moonrise didn't release till February. I think there was only like 2 events of Moonrise before Dallas, anyways.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you had the same thing for Atlanta when it was the first store regional at
Cards HQ.
Thank you. Where it was like 1 or 2 events prior to that when they had Firestorm, right? So what I hope is that specifically for the Worlds format is if you were a tester, you get like a little bit of leeway, because like if you've qualified for Worlds, like, there's got to be something, right? Otherwise, what's the point of doing that? And what's the point of even releasing Sunstrike at the end of February or like beginning of March if the whole point is that your playtesters can't play in Worlds, and it makes someone like Caleb, who's like been fairly known to be a playtester and be a commentator, that he can't compete. So then what was the whole point of him even winning the one premiere and getting his invite, because now he can't play it if it's a new format. Yeah. But I also don't want it to just stay live stream format. So there's got to be like some
middle ground
leeway given. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's gonna be interestingly done.
I hope it's 1 month out. Like, I feel like that's a good timing. Where like both for the playtesters as well as just like I feel like the sweet spot is not too much time that everything's solved, but enough time that it's not like just immediately fresh and people can like kind of cook on some ideas and refine a little bit. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see, and I hope that the distribution as well works out with the timing. I suspect that it will. But especially for people who are farther away, I hope that they're able to get their stuff in a reasonable time frame before World starts.
Well, now that also Law has like publicly released the testing client, I think it'll make it a lot better for people to start testing, because the issue was you have to find people who are going to print proxies or write out proxies with you or just understand. And it's just like a big pain in the ass. But at least with the ClashNet, we like it gets updated whenever like there's reveals, so that we can test them with new things. So it makes it a lot easier, because that's a lot of what I know Log and I did a lot of the testing through ClashNet when we had it before it went public. We did a couple streams with it, and that's what allowed me to figure out what I wanted to play at Kissimmee with the lad list. So And I know it's going to
Yeah,
be a lot
that's true.
easier to start testing now. I guess the last couple things that we have is we have banlist threads, because I know we probably have, I think, one more event and then we have a ban list or something like that. It was like mid-December they wanted to have a ban list.
Yeah.
What do we think in that needs to get hit right now?
I'm biased. I'm biased. So like this is gonna be really bad. But Champ Lockagon. I think either hitting it to 1 or, well, you can't ban it, but like hitting it to 1, I think is probably the best thing to do. Or as JB just said before, I rudely interrupted him. The Tad Puff. Tad Puff hit would be very detrimental to the Lockagon strategy, because Tad Puff is the whole turn 1 play. It's like with iWooly, where they have Tad Flow, or if you're doing like iWooly Morfrost, where you're doing all of your Morfrost stuff and then just ascending next turn. It gives you more leeway going first, and it also helps you going second try to figure out what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I think the thing that's interesting to me about Tadpuff ban is that I feel like if Tadpuff gets banned, Lockagon is probably completely dead, in my opinion. Like, I don't think that deck can survive without Tadpuff. And like maybe you think that's a good thing. I I can see the argument that that's a good thing, but I would maybe just put it to 1 so they can't like do the combo multiple times. But I could see just getting rid of it so you don't just like get sacked by the 1-up.
I have a counterpoint, I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, JB. Go ahead.
No, I would say my justification for the Tap Puff ban, maybe not a Tap Puff ban. My ideal scenario, maybe I was talking with someone else about this. The ideal would be they follow maybe choice restriction, saying in this deck you can only have Tadpuff or Lockagon, so it doesn't outright ban Tadpuff, just because like Chronodile benefits off Tadpuff, and like a lot of maybe the different water decks can benefit off of Tadpuff, so maybe a choice restriction. But my big reason for that was the set championships was anytime I faced Lockagon, it was manageable, because like it's like you could find out like if they set the guy, you could PTA it, and then it's like, oh, they have to, it slows down Lockagon, but it doesn't kill Lockagon.
I think my counterpoint would be to limit OG Lockagon, because I think the new Lockagon isn't necessarily a problem. I think it's the fact that it enables the OG Lockagon too easily, because it like heals, which then also triggers the old Lockagon to pop something. And it was just like, I don't think it was necessarily thought out of how the sequencing was going, where it's going to hit the board, heal, and then, oh, because I'm on board, I get to pop something. So I feel like if you're able to get rid of the OG Lockagon, and it's like you have your PTAs and stuff set, so like you hit the PTA on the OG Lockagon, now you don't gotta worry about it through the rest of the game unless somehow they get it back into the deck. And we don't know what's going to come up in the future of like maybe there's going to be more cards for all elements that have the ability to shuffle back, like how we got
Sisyphus
Boulder. Like it mills, but like it puts stuff back into the deck, right? So we don't know exactly what they're planning to release, but I think a hit to OG Lockagon might actually be a better choice than new or Tadpuff.
I think that's reasonable. I think ultimately the state that I would like Lockagon to get into is where if I think it's bad that they can just, once they get into a certain board state, threaten to do the exact same thing every turn, like over and over again. I think that's kind of a problem where it's like, okay, even if you out the first Lockagon combo, like they just got another one. So I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of a limit to one of those pieces being like Tadpuff or either of the locks, to just be able to say, okay, you get one, you have a strong combo, but if it gets outed, you gotta play the rest of the game a little bit more fairly.
You can also see, to Sully's point about OG Lockagon, it's because another justification to keep OG at 1 is Soulsmate, because because it's like, oh, you have the lock, oh, I have another one, and flip, oh, it didn't die, and I heal, and now I pop. because it's technically casted.
Yeah, but then like stuff like that is like perfectly fine because it just requires you to have more pieces compared to just being like, I have Aphrodite, oh, I have Tatpuff, and I have Locagon. I win the game. Like it's not fun to play against all the time. I also know that there's been a lot of discussion on Twitter about, or X, whatever the heck you want to call it, about the speed of the game and how the game has picked up exponentially fast within like 3 sets, and not a lot of people are happy with it. What are your guys' opinion on that?
I think it's justified that like I think their anger or how upset they are. I think it's completely justified. Because I think once we got past that Moonrise phase, it's no longer okay. I'm gonna like play one card, set one, pass. It's now okay. I'm either going to wait until you do something and then kill you on the crackback, or I'm gonna set up an almost unbreakable state turn one, trying out my board.
I think building off that is there are certain decks that are a little too fast compared to others, like Locagon and Iwoli, kind of like they can build boards out of nothing, compared to Lotagon, where it's sped up, but it is not an 11 on the dial, because like I build like the speed I like is kind of the Lotagon build and the Cypron stuff, just because it has those combos and stuff, but it's a little too fast, and I feel like some of the hits like to Locagon, and we haven't touched on it yet, but maybe something in the Frost realm to kind of slow things down, to slow those decks down to build other decks up.
Hot take: we ban Iwoli.
I agree. We can ban OG Iwoli.
No, we ban.
Whoa, you were hating. No, that is the boy. Raigeki on legs is fine. The other part isn't.
We banned Champ Wooly.
No.
Champ
Wooly did nothing wrong. It did nothing wrong.
No.
Or limit
real
Chimera
shit.
to 1.
No, real shit.
Chimera to 1.
Real shit. We hit Blistrix. Aspirel to 1. Snowlit to 1. Blistrix to 1.
No. You go. You do what you do in Clash. You hit like Cedar Sword to 1. You hit like Narpoon. You hit.
Whoa! Don't hit our boy. Don't hit Narpoon.
Narpoon's fine. Narpoon is fine.
I'm gonna search my Ursicle.
I feel like the tricky thing about finding a Frost like hit on the ban list is that there's like multiple different strategies within Frost that like sure you take down Blistrix, but then just like more Frost Iwoli is going to be strong, or like I haven't looked at Zeklos. Was Six even playing Iwoli in his, or was he just more Frost?
No.
I think it was just more Frost.
It was just more Frost and Cryo.
Oh, okay. Cryo Frost.
But,
so it's like,
but to your point,
even if you like ban Iwoli, I think Frost is still quite strong, and I think it's probably like a reasonable amount of strong. But I think that there's just a lot of strong things that Frost is doing, and I feel like the main like overlap there is actually Brumalink's champ. I don't think they should hit Brumalink's champ, but that card is very strong for all of those strategies.
Yeah. You're on the right track, but it's Chimera. It's more for us Chimera form.
No.
Yes, it is.
I don't think they should limit Chimera. I think Chimera is cool and like an interesting
Chimera
strategy.
to 1.
No. we keep my boy. We keep
No. Real hot take. We hit Aviolith champ to 1.
Whoa.
No, okay.
Whoa.
Put down the gun, okay? Like, whoa, calm down, relax.
Not before I build Hermes and Titan again, okay?
Yeah, that's what we need before we start throwing any accusations out there. I also feel like we need to kind of address a mini elephant in the room. Solar. Obviously with Sunstrike coming out, Solar's going to get a huge buff, and while it's not topping as much as especially Frost decks are, I definitely think that with Sunstrike it could possibly be a problem. Do we know what to hit? Absolutely not. But but I think that just Solar can not only pass like really good counter runes like Pandora's Box that hits a lot of the decks now, but it doesn't get hurt by nearly as many counter runes, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, Oh, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Oh, I was there. I feel like watching reading X and then watching like people's takes on post banlist meta, that the whole thing of solar being not as strong is not as justified as it should be. Like, yeah, okay, you can't do the haha funny I do solar burst, I dump Celestlio, I rise Celestlio. Like, cool, you can't do that, but solar is still pretty strong because it has its own in-house earthquake while also running earthquake. So four earthquakes. Then you can play Nova Core, which then, since you have your stadium up, it's instantly a 6 that pops something. And with Hurricane being banned, if it sets up a back row and it's able to stick something, it's good luck.
Yeah, I think to me, Solar's in a really interesting spot where like it feels like it should be one of the top decks, and it's just not converting as much as like at least I would have expected from seeing the very first tournament at like Kissimmee and the like early premieres. And I'm really interested in like, is that an aspect of like the deck is not as good as people thought it was, or maybe it's harder than people thought it was, and the people playing it aren't like maximizing it fully yet. Yeah, I don't know.
I think people are just really prepared for it because we saw it for like 3 premieres in a row, not like including Kissimmee and stuff like that. That it was a very, very good deck. It was ran a lot, and even without like Chariot Ride, it was still doing fairly good. And so what I like truly think is that people were like, oh, Solar is going to be a good deck, so people are teching a lot for it. And then because they've seen Solar being so much, people like tech for Locagon less, or they're teching more for Morphrost, which just so happens to also hit the stuff for Solar. It was like just like a weird, like a I guess like weird timing for a lot of things, because I know there's only one Solar list from what I see here in like the whole top 16, which is honestly crazy because I definitely thought it would have been played more. And what I'm seeing is a lot more fucking like Dio and stuff like that. So a lot more people are going for like a mid-rangey type thing. But there were definitely more Solar into the top 32. Like there was like just scrolling like 3 scrolls, there's already like 4 other ones. So it's just like very slight conversions not happening, but it's probably just like not hitting your Solar bursts or anything like that.
It reminds me very
your
much.
Celestials.
It reminds me very much of Blizzstrix in like mid to end of Moonrise, where the deck was like anytime it was shown, it was like a complete blowout. But those like the end of those tournaments, the convert like it didn't convert at all. Like there would be like 1, maybe 2 Blizz in top 16 that like didn't make it past that. But then like you go top 32 or like anywhere below, you start seeing all of the Blizzstrix and all of that. And it took a whole other format just for it to finally win a tournament. So I definitely think that it might be the same thing for Solar, that we just kind of need to, I don't want to say give it time, but we just need to keep an eye on it and see kind of if it can convert the same way that that Blizz did, or if maybe we're reading too much into it.
Yeah, the thing that weirds me out is that like in my mind there's the narrative of like why that happened with Blizz, right? Is it's like it is a high roll deck and also sometimes you low roll and you miss. So that even like really like top level players playing Blizz tricks, like sometimes you just whiff and there's nothing you can do even if you're really good. But to me, Solar seems super consistent, and there's a bunch of like top players who are putting time in on the deck, and to me that should feel like it should show up more in top cuts, right? Like seemingly consistent decks, strong players, and it's not converting. I don't know. It just doesn't. It's strange to me.
I feel like it's in the middle between like a Blistrix and like a very consistent deck, is because your main thing of outing things is your Solar Burst. Requires you to reveal cards off the top. Sometimes you don't hit an Elestral. Sometimes you hit a 1-drop Elestral and you're trying to drop a 2-drop. Sometimes you draw your hands and mulligan and you see both your Celestials that you need in your deck to do anything. So it's very hard to necessarily justify, because the main core of the deck is realistically revealing the top cards. It may not be milling them, so you can sort them back into how you want. So it's like less high rolly, but still kind of like I guess more of like a medium roll deck where you have better chances to hit what you have to hit, but like you still have the fairly good chance of just whiff it. And I think that's a big problem.
I also think that people are more still stuck on the Celestial line in terms of like playing the Nebulios, playing the Leo Brights and stuff. I think that because people can't do the whole like mill Celestial, rise Celestial type things, that they might need to be a switch of strategy and have to start playing Solar's version of Ted Puff, where Soulbell, where I found it off the top. There we go. Oh, Celestial's on top. Well, that's cool. Anyways, ascend into Leo Bright. Leo Bright hits Celestio now on the board.
Isn't there actually a card that's just Tadpuff and Solar?
He's so level.
I don't know if it's a true Tadpuff version. But I'm talking about, of course, the Soul Bell where it says, "Oh, if it's hit off a Foretell, you can special cast it."
I think that's also probably something that should be done. Like, I think cows are just like completely underrated.
Man, where's Armadon? Where's Armadon in all this?
My gosh.
It's the time for 6 defense.
You'll summon Swole. You'll summon Swole X.
Yeah, let him play on a plane again.
One point I do want to bring up is that I think that now that we have like a few more events, I think in hindsight, the last ban list was actually very solid for what it needed to be, at least in my opinion. Like, I know there was some discussion like around when that ban list happened of like, are they doing enough? Like, is Rise plus Chariot Ride and Hurricane, is that enough to actually like make for an interesting format, or are Solar and Locke going to like run away with it of what was kind of perceived as like somewhat minor hits to the deck? And I think what we've seen is that's not actually true. I think that like those cards were very important pieces to both of those decks that have kind of allowed the others to rise up to their level. So I think in hindsight, at least to me, that ban list did pretty much exactly what it needed to do.
Like, it definitely brought a lot more things into the limelight for different decks. Like, we had Morphrost win. It was almost like a pure Morphrost that had like I think Caleb had Iwooly and stuff in there. I don't remember fully. But like that, the main point of that deck was like spam little guys into Iwooly. So like that brings a lot.
They also had Ice Age, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's like I think it allows stuff like that to be a bit more playable. And then we're seeing more DO being played in Top Cut as people are figuring that out more. So I think the hits to Hurricane, Rise, and Chariot Ride were huge hits that definitely needed to happen a long time ago. But it's better to have it later than never.
Yeah, I think when the new ban list comes out, depending on what they hit, I'll have a change of opinion on stuff, because right now I feel like personally, in terms of like my locals and other like some MEL events and stuff, of Hurricane may have been a little judgmental, because I personally do not like set 4 pass meta, or I establish 4 set 4 pass good luck, especially with Lockagon.
Just play
Okay,
Thunderstorms.
Whiskey's Whiskey's with Valcane. But yeah, I feel like it makes people play more into those types of decks. But I feel like, outside of like, I'm gonna go back to Lotagon. My only way to out your back row is if I can get into Lotagon. You stop me from getting the Lotagon, and you have 3 other cards set, and then you go into like Lotagon combo. I go, Cool. Game 2.
What do you mean? We have Equilinks.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a one of. I would say it's a one of, and
Equilinks
Hurricane
back
was
to
also a
3.
one of.
No, we don't need Equilinks back to 3.
Equilinks back to 3. I
It
think
would
Probably
be
the
we
annoying,
need,
two, sure.
I
especially
think we
with
need a
Hurricane
champion of
gone. I
Demeter
feel
5-5
like
Equilinks.
Don't need a
Yeah.
champ up to meter 5/5 that pops every pops a back row on every Nexus.
I'm gonna Nexus 4, pop 4. Let's fucking go.
Again, that's just Valocane.
But like it's a 1-drop.
Oh, it is a one drop.
It's basically a one drop in Hermes.
Real. Such a
True.
real statement.
And Aeolus if you really want to.
Aeolus and Hermes in the same deck?
Hey yo.
I tried to convince Keeves on it. He's like, no, don't get Hermes out of this list. Don't taint my Aeolus list.
We also hard convinced Keebs to play fucking Hermes Habufin, and that chalked his whole Kissimmee.
What do you mean? He almost
Oh,
he almost reverse swept the whole event if he had one more spirit.
He probably would have topped if he had one more spirit.
In his first 3 rounds, yeah.
Why is my Hermes so short? What's going on?
Well, I think that's everything for this episode of the Bugscast. Thank you all for coming out.
Yeah. Whoa, we have to. Before we leave, let's congratulate Sylvia on being a dad.
Again.
Yeah,
Woohoo.
kid meta.
Kid meta.
Probably stopping me from going to Vegas if I qualify. Kids are expensive.
True.
Alright,
Yeah.
well, everyone like, comment, subscribe, and have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time you're watching this at. So, see you later.
Peace.
Bye.